to Dragon Exotics, and today we are going to be showing off a very long-awaited project. Now, Tsunami is going to be 7 this year, and it's about time that she gets the upgrade that she deserves. Now, some of you may have known based on my other videos that I've been planning this project, and it's finally done, and I'm excited to show you guys how it turned out. Before I show you a full spectrum video of it, I'm going to show you guys kind of some of the early steps of how this turned into the final project. So I'm just going to attach some pictures and kind of just go over what I did to turn a typical shed into this. So, see you in a minute. Alright, so how do you make an enclosure like this, you may be asking? Well, I know you haven't seen the enclosure yet, but you will soon in the video. But yeah, you can skip forward if you'd like to, but if you're interested in making something like this, then feel free to hang around and look at the pictures that I'm going to show. But yeah, if you're interested, we started off by thinking, well, do we want to make a structure? Do we want to use a shed? What do we want to do to contain this lovely iguana? We were looking around and really there wasn't anything that showed exactly what I wanted besides like a room. And so we hadn't seen many things about anybody turning a shed into a reptile room, and we wanted to try it. Now, for iguanas, they require high humidity, so we wanted to make sure that the shed would be able to withstand the humidity that was going to be required. So we started off, we picked the shed from Home Depot, and then we talked to our electrician about running the electricity from the house to the shed. And so he was able to cut out little holes and set it up so there was going to be wiring in the shed. So that was step 1. Step 2 was figuring out how we were going to insulate it and add the drywall and everything. So for the insulation process, we had to add some wood to like the corners and everything, because surprisingly these tough sheds really don't come built so you can easily insulate it. So you have to kind of fix the wood yourself. But once we got that done, we hired a handyman to do the rest of the insulation, which went pretty well, I would say. He added it nicely. He was able to fill in the rest of it with the pink insulation, and then he was able to add the drywall. And once he added the drywall, we were able to move on to the next step. So the next step to that after the drywall was to get all the tile in, because we wanted to have tile on the floor so that, you know, if water spilt or if just to make it easy to clean up, more sanitary. There was a lot of reasons to use tile and instead of that weird cardboard stuff that the shed came with. So we had him put in most of the tile, and then I grouted it. So I was a bit more protected. And then after I grouted it, I was able to paint the walls green. And so, well, walls meaning the corners and then the roof. So the ceiling and the upper ridge of the walls I was able to paint with a sealant, and then I was able to add a I added like a backdrop and a background, like a vinyl sort of background to the walls to kind of make it a pop of just aesthetically pleasing design, so it's like you're walking into a jungle. So I got this stuff from Amazon and I put it on the walls, and then I covered it with like a clear sealant so that it made it extra waterproof. I mean, usually when you buy vinyl, it's pretty waterproof already, but I wanted to add an extra sealant just to make sure that it was going to be able to withstand that humidity. All right, so now that we got the walls done, the sealant is coated on the walls, it's coated on the ceiling. Everything was done at that point. So we had the ceiling done, the walls done, the floor done. Well, then we needed to add the shelves. And the shelves, we kind of had to, it was trial and error. Originally, I was going to have 3 basking spots. I ended up deciding to have 3, but in a different way. So rather than 3 shelves, I was going to have 2 shelves and 1 basking spot on the floor. So the main basking spot is that big ledge in the back, and you'll see when we show the final product. But we added that big ledge and we supported it with like some 2x4s. We covered it in grass and of course some decoration. But then same thing for that other ledge. And because I put the nesting box over the second ledge, or under the second ledge, I was able to balance one of the 2x4s kind of on it and in front of it. So it kind of worked out well. So we've got one ledge by the window and one ledge towards the back wall. And then we were able to make a ladder, which I just used like, they weren't 2x4s, but they were just supplies from Home Depot. You can use whatever you'd like to make a ladder. Just drill some nails in there and get it all set up and make it so that your iguana or reptile cannot fall through the holes. Because Tsunami, she cannot climb well. She's missing a toe. She's had issues in the past, and we kind of had to make it so she can climb up it easily and not fall through. But yeah, the last step was more of decorating and getting all of that done just to look good, and I'll go in more emphasis in it when we actually step inside. Then, lastly, the very last step, and personally one of my favorite parts, is we added a catio to the window. So the catio, which I will show in a video because it's kind of hard to describe, but she can go outside into this nice enclosed little area and bask in the sun if she wants to. And I have some branches laid out on the shelves so that she can kind of crawl wherever she wants. And that's really the gist of how I made this. And just remember, this isn't a tutorial video. Originally I was going to make it like that, but because there was just so many steps and we were getting busy and I couldn't record the whole process. I just figured I would give you guys a sum of how I did it, and hope you guys understood it. But yeah, so let's just dive right in there and check it out. See you in a minute. All right, so before we head inside, let's take one big look on the outside and let's look at the catio that we did. Now, I decided to do a nice bottom section to this catio so no like rodents and stuff can get in there. We've got a hibiscus plant that I made the mistake of putting in her enclosure before bringing it outside. She totally destroyed it. And we've got some fake trees in there. We've got a bunch of branches. We've got all that. Nice ledges for her to sit on. There's the window. And we will be adding kind of some wood. Oh, look who's through the window. She's been expecting us. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. But yeah, so, and this is nice. It has two little latches. And this is a catio that I had gotten off of Amazon. And this catio, you can see it there. I had did a second coat of paint just to make it more weather resistant. And it's been holding up pretty well. So when the weather's nice, I can let her out. But with further ado, let us go inside. And you can lock this, so if you're ever worried about anybody coming in. All right, now we're inside. Sorry, I had to cut the video for a second. But let's start with kind of a full view of what we have going on here. And right here, you can see those two lights. We've got a night light and that one basking spot. There's Tsunami over there. She has a bit of stuck shed on her side, so don't worry about that. But you can see she's got this huge basking area with two pillows, which she uses both of them. There's her little food bowl up there. But she's got the lighting up here. So it's important for iguanas that you have the proper lighting, as with any reptile. And for her, this is a Mercury vapor bowl, the Mega Ray brand, and it's a 100 watt. So you want to make sure that you keep it at the correct distance, which it can vary. I think I'll have to put a link in the description to the proper distances for each Mega Ray bulb, because you don't want to risk blinding them if it's too close. You don't want to cause any eye problems. But UVB is important, as it is for all reptiles. Make sure that they don't get metabolic bone disease and make sure that they're absorbing their vitamin D correctly. You don't want them to have issues, because Unfortunately, metabolic bone disease is one of the more common issues in reptiles, and I'll be doing a specific video on that later, just because if I were to cover all of the diseases that can happen from improper care in one video, it would be super long. So for now, we'll just stick with get your UVB because you don't want metabolic bone disease. It can make your reptile sick and they can die from it. Huzzah. Facts. Okay, next I'm using a halogen 50 watt mini halogen bulb. And I'm using the 50 watt because it actually does the same amount of heat that the 150 basking bulb does. And so it's really energy efficient. So, and especially if you have a lot of bulbs like this, you want to have an energy efficient. Like, it's just gonna be really expensive if you don't. This right here, it connects to my phone through Wi-Fi, so I can monitor her temperature and humidity constantly. And usually her humidity in here ranges from 70 to 80%, and that's a pretty decent range. Sometimes I can get it up to 90 when I leave that on for a while. And that's kind of the range that you want to keep it in so they can shed properly and help their kidneys. And humidity, it's another thing you want to keep upright so you don't get diseases. Here's the ceramic heat bulb. I believe it's a 150 watt, I think. And that just keeps this whole area warm at night because it still gets cold outside and you want to make sure they're warm at night, but you want to make sure it's completely dark. So you want to use a ceramic bulb or something that isn't going to emit light while they're sleeping because they sleep best when it's completely dark. Moving down the line, all of those lovely lights are connected into this right here. And that is a timer so that they all go off at 9:30 and the heat light comes on at 9:30, the ceramic night one. We've got some more plugins right here. This is mainly for the pond. At the moment I have 2 heaters in this pond. You can see we've got a little waterfall in there, helps keep the humidity up, and some fake flowers of course. And then we've got another heater. You can't really see it in there. I'm gonna try to get a better picture of it. So with this thermostat, it is so the water is 87 right now, which that's amazing. Having the water at 87 is actually really good. And you just wanna make sure it doesn't get too hot. So I don't want this to get over 90, just because I just wouldn't want it to be that warm. But 87 is the warmest that it ever gets. Usually it sticks around that 82 zone, which is great. Yeah, I use this for the thermostat. Do not let it go in the water because as I found out the first time, if it falls in the water, it will short out the entire thing. I had trusted the sticking on the back, and yeah, it did not go well. It fell right from the wall and the wood piece into the water. So yeah. At night, I have these little lights that turn on. They're very dim, but they're enough to barely light up the bottom of the water. Just so in case she goes in, I can see it on my camera, which is over here. We've got a nice camera in here because any reptile owner who is extremely paranoid likes to have a camera, wants to make sure that they're not having a fire or anything going on in their enclosure. Then we have another thermostat here, which is the BN Link one. And none of these are sponsored, by the way. They're just what I'm using. And this usually has it set warmer, but right now I have the vents open, or unblocked, I should say, just to kind of air out the room. And so it makes it a little colder in here, but not by much. Still like a sauna. But that keeps the nest box warm. So there's a little thermostat on the other side of this. And if you remember in our last video, we made this very realistic looking nest box, and it's been working out very well. It blends in, and if you don't remember, we can lift this up, and I'm just gonna move her ladder right there, but we can lift it up, and oh wow, you guys can't see. Ooh. It's very dark in there, but it's full of soil, and soil is good if you have a iguana who is going through breeding season, because they're going to want to dig, and you definitely want to have a few inches in there of probably the coconut fiber substrate so that they can dig and lay their eggs. You also want the humidity to be high in there, because a warm, humid, cave-like thing full of soil is what they would lay their eggs in the wild. Or even not necessarily a cave, just anything they can dig in. Next we have, oh look, it's a large cat. Wow, so interesting. We've got another little thermostat kind of thing right here, just to monitor the temperature and humidity. We've got a small little basking area, which she's gotten a bit dirty already, just by throwing some dirt around. But it's pretty nice. And we've got these brackets to hold up the shelf. These 2x4s to kind of make sure that the shelf doesn't fall. We've got a very curious lizard. Are you curious? Yes? She's shedding again, so don't mind her. But she seems to be pretty happy today. She's got another little ladder that comes right here to the second shelf that I was telling you about. Of course, there's another mini halogen bulb and a ceramic heater. And then we've got, she's got, as I mentioned earlier, she's got that little hippo humidifier over there. It just brings the humidity in here extra. So nice and warm. You want to have a nice warm enclosure. And we have this, which it comes in very handy. I'm pretty sure it's like $15 on Amazon. 15 to 20, I think. And it reads the temperature like that. So let's see what the temperature of the water on this says. Oh, didn't focus. Depending on where it's at, like that cold, the shady area over there is 79, which is very nice. And then we've got, and of course the closer you get to the water, it'll be right here. It's reading 81. Oh, there we go. It's hard to focus on that. Let's see what this spot reads. Oh, there we go. 82 in that basking, well, all right, 88 in that basking spot. And then we've got another basking spot right here. If I can get it right. That one is one of the warmer basking spots. It depends on where she lays, but it can be anywhere from that 106 range to a little bit cooler. It's a warm day today, so I may end up opening the window for her. So, and that'll also cool off this basking spot if it ever gets too warm, but it usually doesn't exceed 106, as you could tell. Then we've got this area, 85. Well, hi, what are you doing? No, 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 it's not food. It's not food. I think she's crazy. Let's see what she is. She's been moving around a lot, but 92, that's still good. Sorry about that, guys. I just realized that my camera had full storage. Yay, go iPhones. But yeah, you guys got the gist of it. You want to make sure that, you know, as long as you have an adult iguana, you want to make sure the basking spot is warm enough so they can digest their food. Juveniles, you want to make sure you don't overheat them because they need slightly lower basking temperatures than adults. So I wouldn't go over 100 degrees for the juveniles, just to keep it safe. But definitely keep it warm. It can be up to 100. And make sure you have that proper distance so that if they do need to get away from the heat, they should be able to. Because the worst thing you can do is keep a reptile under a extremely hot heat source without anywhere else for them to go to cool themselves off. It's just, it can be dangerous if you do it that way. But she's obviously hungry, so maybe I'll just finish off this video with her snacking on some food, and I think we'll be good. I think she deserves a buffet today, so let's see what I'll give her. See you in a minute. So yeah, normally she doesn't get a lot of fruit, but I want to make sure that she is hydrated. So we're gonna put her fruit over there. She's got some collard greens and turnip greens. We'll be doing a diet video hopefully soon. But for now, yeah, I wanted to get this enclosure video out there, and I do hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, enjoy this enclosure and her eating montage.